Why are you hitting your mom? I mean, don't do this thing where we're shaking our head, we're trying to consider, because what I just read is you punch your mom in the mouth.
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Welcome to Off the Record, where I select the best court cases, where the judges give the best lessons to the criminals out there in the US of A. I also cut out all of the court record mandatory statements that the judge has to read into the record, so you end up watching only the good stuff, as I want my subscribers that give me their time for that time to be worth it. So, please subscribe and let's go learn a lesson off the record.
And this is for deferred adjudication.
Correct.
Court is calling State of Texas versus Ronnie Simmons. And are you Mr. Ronnie Simmons?
Yes.
Did you understand what you're charged with is assault family second offense? That's a third-degree felony. The range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 10 years in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes.
Right. I review in States Exhibits 1 and attachments. The court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty. The court will defer finding of guilt as you've applied for deferred adjudication. Are we proceeding with sentencing?
Yes, Judge.
All right. So first question I have, Ronald Simmons. Is Ronald Simmons married to your mom, and do they live together or no?
Father, actually, Judge. And
Right.
I think yes. Parents are still married. Yes.
So they live together. How old are you?
32.
You're 32 years old. And is this complaint in this case your biological mother?
Yes.
Why are you hitting your mom? I mean, don't do this thing where we're shaking our head, we're trying to consider, because what I just read is you punch your mom in the mouth. We only get one mother, and it says that she was bleeding. I mean, if you want a jury trial, I'm here. Anybody who wants a jury trial is more than welcome to have it. But it appears that you have some anger issues because this is a family violence second. This is not a first. How old is your mother?
46.
When's her birthday?
May 30.
You sound very unsure. All right. So why are you hitting on your mom? All right. And at your age, even if you were younger, if your parent doesn't want to drive you somewhere, they don't have to. That's what via buses are for. That's what getting a job and getting your own car for. When this happened, were you living at that home?
No.
So you're coming over starting problems. And this previous assault family violence case, who was the complainant in that case? On March 25th, 2022, you were convicted of assault, bodily injury, family household. Who were you on probation for out of that cause number? What is their relationship? Can somebody look that up for me? Cause number 669877. It's a county court cause number, and see who the complainant was.
Cheryl Simmons.
Cheryl Simmons.
Yes.
So the same person.
Right. Yeah.
What is your issue with your mom? I don't understand people who hit their mothers and their parents.
Right.
As you know, I'm from the old school of parenting. That most definitely would not have been allowed. And there are many things that I cannot say, but I don't know I do know. If I would have hit my mom, well, let's just say I would not be here as judge now. But people would probably be saying, oh, we remember Stephanie. She was such a nice little girl. So why are you hitting on your mom? And this is not the first time. There has to be a reason for it. Why do you think it's okay to hit your mother?
I mean, I could sit here and say I didn't, but I said no context, so.
Well, no, you've done it before in the past, so I'm trying to figure out why you're hitting on your mom. Why do you think that's okay? Oh, you want a jury trial?
No. I'm just answering your question.
Well, we have 2 cases with you involving your mom. So you're saying on both occasions you never put your hands on her. And the fact that they're saying that she's bleeding from the lip, that's just, I don't know, something she did to herself. All right. And it says here you hit her with a closed fist. splitting her upper lip, causing it to bleed and swell. It says suspect grabbed victim's left upper arm with his left hand, holding her in place, and then punched her in the mouth with closed fists. And all of this because you wanted her to drive you to the store, and she said, no, walk. I don't know what people, in this day and age, people act like children can't ride the school bus. They got to have a nice car. People can't walk to where they need to go because it's embarrassing, or get on the VIA bus because it's embarrassing. If you don't have a car, can't afford a car, get a car, you walk. All right. Do you have any children?
Yes, ma'am.
What are their ages?
7.
And who does your child live with?
Months.
Do you see your child?
So
Do you pay child support?
yes.
All right. And I ask these questions because part of your conditions on probation, which sometimes people don't read all of the conditions, even though probation, I know, goes all of the conditions with you. Part of the conditions of probation automatically is supporting your dependents. All right. All right. 6 years deferred adjudication, proof of employment within 30 days. There's to be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors, no unsupervised contact with minors, no contact with Cheryl Ann Simmons, and that's with 1M. There's an affirmative finding of family violence. I'm going to want regular reporting by Zoom or in person, regular UAs. I'm going to want field visits 2 times per month until further notice, the BIPP course, anger management. There's to be no harmful or injurious contact with Ronald Simmons, 200 hours of community service restitution, parenting classes with Triple P. Anything else, probation? Anything else you need from the court in order to be successful? I'm sorry? All right, we can go off the record. Good luck to you. You only get one mom in this world. And you know what? The way you're treating your mom, you're asking for your son to behave in that same manner. And your son may end up going before a judge because they're looking to you and you're educating them on how to solve problems. And this is not the way you do it. Do you understand? From here on out, everything you do, you need to ask yourself a question before you make a decision. Is this something that could potentially result in me going to prison for 10 years? And if the answer to that question is maybe, I don't know, you shouldn't do it. You understand? Good luck to you.
I remember this. Yeah. This is terrible.
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Called Catario Richardson. Is that you?
Yes, sir.
There is a first amended motion to revoke unadjudicated probation. This motion to revoke your probation alleges that on January 30th, 2023, earlier this year, you were placed on 10 years deferred or unadjudicated probation for aggravated assault causing serious bodily injury, a second-degree felony. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
Number one, state you failed to report to the Jefferson County Probation Office for the months of April 2023 and May of 2023 in violation of your probation order. Is that true or untrue?
Yes, sir.
Was he a absconder or did he, how long was he gone?
He only reported on his initial visit, which was March the 1st of this year, and after that, he went off.
Never came back?
Never came.
Is that true? The first one and then that was it? You had 10 years of probation. Oh, it just wasn't convenient for you? Or
Sir,
why did you walk off the job?
I wanted to report, but at the time,
Your feet didn't want you to be there.
no, sir.
You know, if there's the one thing you have to do is report. If you don't report, you're not on
Yeah.
probation. You're not on probation. That's the only way we can supervise you. We can't. There's 5,000 probationers. We can't go out and search them and plead with them to come back. You've got a responsibility that you swore to when you were placed on probation right here. I will follow all the conditions of your signature. I will follow all the conditions, and I know this can be revoked for any violation. All right. Just don't want you to be surprised with what happens next. Let me go to 5. You committed the offense of evading.
In a minute.
5, you committed the offense of evading detention on or about November 25th, 2023 in Jefferson County, Texas, against the peace and dignity of the state in violation of your probation order. Is that true?
Sir.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
Are you pleading true to that voluntarily and because it is true? You understand that one or more violations of your probation, if found true by a preponderance of the evidence or greater, are enough to revoke this probation.
Yes, sir.
Your probation
Second.
can be revoked. You can now be found guilty, and you are looking at no less than 2 nor more than 20 years confinement in prison, plus whatever prison time you serve. You cannot be paroled until 1/2 the time of service has occurred, because there's a deadly weapon, namely a firearm, that was used in the commission of this aggravated assault. You shot somebody. Do you understand all of this?
Yes, sir.
Knowing that, do you insist on pleading true today?
Yes, sir.
I find you were pleading true voluntarily. You understand and appreciate the consequences of pleading true to this aggravated assault. Motion to revoke probation, the violations under that plea of guilty that we placed you on probation. I remember this. Yeah. This is terrible. Go ahead, Steph.
There's a whole reason why I handed you that PSI is when I look back at that original charge that we decided to give this young man an opportunity.
Attempted murder.
Yeah, it's not only that, but there's within the facts itself, there was a kidnapping that we chose not to move forward on.
Yes.
It's just a huge disappointment when you give somebody an opportunity to succeed and all they do is thumb their nose at the court and basically choose to do whatever they want to once we placed him on probation. It was only because of the count number 5 where he was arrested there that he's standing before you right now. That charge of evading detention was when we actually were able to place him in custody and have him stand accountable for the failure to do anything really on probation other than report the first time. Based upon that, the state is suggesting a 10-year sentence.
You're looking at no less than 2 nor more than 20, right?
Yes, sir.
What do you say?
Would you explain to the court, as you were trying to tell me earlier, your explanation for what's happened here and why you did not report?
I did want to report, but at the time, I had just recently lost my grandmother, and after that, I lost my aunt, both to cancer, and they were my main 2 supporters. So at the time, I really didn't have a support system I needed, and I tried to find work, but I couldn't. And I know I was supposed to report, but by this being my first time on paper, I really didn't know. And I am expecting a daughter on January the 8th. Like, honest to God, truth, like, I finally found a job. Like, I only worked like 2 weeks. It was like a fast food job, but I ended up coming here.
Any job is a worthy job to begin.
But I couldn't find work. And I was trying to find work.
That's not the point. The point is you didn't report, and everybody has to
Yes,
report.
I know
That's the easiest thing to do.
I know, but by this being my first time on paper, I
No,
didn't really
no,
understand.
no, sir. So, sir. No, I can tell you, you did it on your terms. You don't follow rules. This is, it just needs to be read back into the record here, how disturbing this was. In the middle of the day here. Police,
So, the charge that I'm on paper for?
police, yeah, don't interrupt the court. You get a chance to speak, but only one of us can speak. If we speak over each other, the court reporter can't do her job. Police, in the middle of the day here in Beaumont, are called out to the scene of a vehicle that has multiple bullet holes in the rear of the view. The victim had been shot multiple times and was transported to the hospital for treatment. The victim stated while she was placing her child in her vehicle, a red Mercedes SUV occupied by you and 2 others. Don't shake your head. You're going to listen to this because this was admitted and everybody agreed this was true. You and two others pulled up and began to fire rounds into the vehicle. Multiple shell casings were located at the scene. And the victim, I think, was a person who looks like they were 20 years old. How old was the child again that was in the vehicle?
And
It says
I thought I had the right date, Judge, but that doesn't look accurate.
Now speak.
they were, no, I'm not through. You get to speak here.
Let me
You like
look,
to interrupt, don't you?
let me look up that detail for you, Judge.
There was, this was all in violation of a CPS order where someone was not allowed to have that child. And the child had been taken at gunpoint from her. The front passenger of the vehicle was you. You were in possession of a Taurus 9mm firearm. Apparently, the information
Right.
and the investigation confirmed that you were the shooter in this incident. And you pleaded guilty to aggravated assault causing serious bodily injury. And again, I guess it was a miracle that a little child was not killed. That somebody else was shot here in the middle of the day in Beaumont. And what did you want to say? Go ahead.
I wanted to say that the child that was my nephew, and the only reason that I shot was because they shot at us first, and I had loved ones in the vehicle, and my nephew wasn't in the car.
What are you doing with a gun in the first place?
That was my aunt's.
No,
And
what are you doing with a firearm, sir?
I had no business.
Why aren't you in school?
Sorry, Judge. Took me a minute. The child was 3.
Child was 3 years old. That would have been capital murder. That child would have been killed.
The,
You'd have had two choices: life without parole or death.
the child,
That's how. Do you understand how serious this is?
yes, sir, but the child was nowhere in the vehicle because when we pulled up,
So that's okay to shoot around town,
no, I'm saying,
shoot a vehicle,
no, I'm
and
saying
shoot a person.
before we got shot at, the child was already in the house because the woman took the child in the house.
How far did you
And
go in
that's-
school? Why weren't you in school on that day?
Because I'm not in
Huh?
school. I'm not in school every month
Yeah, I know. Why weren't you in school on November 17th?
because I don't attend school.
Because you don't. How far did you go in school?
11.
11, and you just quit.
Not necessarily, but you can say that.
Okay, I will. That's the way this results. I mean, in the middle of town, y'all are shooting up this town with people in cars, shooting people. A 3-year-old child was in harm's way,
It was only,
and you, number one, you shouldn't even be having a firearm. That's craziness. Number two, you don't shoot it at anybody in the middle of this town and drive around shooting at people from vehicles. This is chaos. What's the probation office say? You're going to get a chance to speak last.
Your Honor, when I took over his case, he was already an absconder. When I visited him in the jail, now he didn't mention to me anything about the ones that he said are deceased. He told me that he just wasn't taking probation seriously, and now he wants to take probation seriously.
All right. Go ahead. Anything else to add by anybody? You
Anything
may
else you
speak.
want to tell the judge?
I just wanted to say, I do realize I made a mistake and,
Which time? Which mistake are you talking about? I see a bunch of mistakes.
both times, but I do want to say, if you allow me a second chance, I do want to complete papers and I will complete papers. And just, like I said, I made a mistake and I just want to do right on papers and finish it. I will finish it if I'm allowed to.
What state's asking again?
10 years, Judge.
There's a 3-year-old child involved in this, I guess is.
Yes, sir.
Could I say one thing?
Hmm?
The child, like I said, is my nephew and I would never.
So that's okay to shoot at the child.
No, like I said, it was self-defense. They shot at us.
You know, what's odd is that's not what you pleaded when you pleaded guilty. You didn't take this. You could have gone to trial. You didn't do that. You insisted on pleading guilty to this, sir.
I really didn't know how to move forward with the case because I've never been in a situation like this before.
Anything else?
No, sir.
All right, there is sufficient evidence supporting this first amended motion to revoke unadjudicated probation to grant it by a preponderance of the evidence or greater, as allegations 1 and 5 have you have pleaded true to. Thus, the motion is granted and you're deferred or unadjudicated probation is hereby revoked. And you were represented by Mr. Dusler here, who I can guarantee you informs people how to proceed and has been doing this longer than I've been doing this in the practice of law. And he advises people intelligently. There's no surprise here. There's never a surprise. Earlier in this case, you pleaded guilty voluntarily. You were mentally competent to do so. You understood the consequences of pleading guilty. There was sufficient evidence supporting your guilty plea from State's Exhibit 1, admitted to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And I now find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of this aggravated assault. And this involved the use of a deadly weapon, namely a firearm. And it states you pleaded guilty by shooting the firearm at the complainant, which she was shot several times. You were hereby found guilty of that offense. I now sentence you to confinement in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice to serve a term of 10 years. You understand what has happened to those?
Yes, sir.
That is all.
If you have made it this far in my episode, then you have won the race, as this is the end. And if you would like to see a judge take apart a criminal like this cat takes apart a chocolate cake, then please click on the video on screen now.